Makes your car start easier, get better gas mileage. JB Engine Tune-Up is recommended for new or old cars, and it frees sticky valves in 10 minutes or it costs you nothing. Watch for this rack of JB products wherever automotive products are sold. Tell him Ed Justice sent you.
Of course you'd like to have more money. And of course you'd like to get more for what you have. Well, you can. That's what I write about in my newspaper column, and now I put it all together in Sylvia Porter's Money Book. It's my survival guide for today's economy. Make it yours.
Sylvia Porter's Money Book is free to qualifying customers, only at the First Banks of the Twin Cities. Another First Banking idea to help you make the most of what you've got.
WTCN TV, Metro Media 11.
Good evening. The battle lines over what kind of income taxes we're going to pay after the first of the year became more clear today. Senate Democrats, meeting in caucus, voted for a 6-month extension of the current income tax cuts and rejected any compromise with President Ford. A couple of hours before that, the president told GOP leaders he would not compromise and will veto any bill which does not include a ceiling on spending. If no bill is passed by the first of the year, withholding taxes will rise to the old levels. The teacher strike at Winona continued today, the second day. However, the two sides did meet again this afternoon, and the quick return to the bargaining table was considered a hopeful sign, but no word on progress tonight. Winona schools remained closed today. The school board had hoped to reopen today with substitute teachers, but they couldn't find enough of them to get classes going. Money is the main issue, and at last word, they were still far apart. The teacher strike at Waverly Howard Lake went into its second day today, but no word of further bargaining talks there. Again, the issue is money. The school board has offered a 16.23% pay raise. The teachers are holding out for 17.5%. A teacher in the district with 12 years' experience and a master's degree makes $14,210 a year. School board chairman Adalbert Luhman said they're trying to keep expenses down because farm income in the area is going down too. Teachers and the school board are meeting tonight at Rosso, trying to avert a strike deadline set for tomorrow morning. Apparently money is not the key issue there, but non-economic matters. Teachers at Laverne may strike on Friday, and St. Peter teachers may walk out next Tuesday. A.L. Gallup, executive director of the Minnesota Federation of Teachers, told Kurt Johnson today that we're going to have stronger legislation if future strikes are to be avoided.
As of December 5th, there were 295 contracts settled. That leaves about 150 unsettled. We, of course, have problems right now in 3 or 4 schools, 2 out on strike. I'm still optimistic that school boards will realize that the legislature never intended for the binding arbitration provision to be used as it is in Winona and Howard Lake.
Do you think this binding arbitration refusal to go into it by a school board and then a teacher strike is showing school boards in Minnesota that teachers intend to use the strength they have?
Oh, very much. We'd much prefer to have a better issue to be striking over if we have to strike, because the question of the board's refusal to go to arbitration is kind of a ridiculous one. The legislature intended arbitration as a means for final settlement, and we want these things to be settled and get back to the business of teaching.
This is December, well into a school year. Teachers are going out because they don't have a contract. Why weren't these contracts settled in the summertime?
I think there are a number of reasons. We found that school boards weren't as anxious to settle as we thought they should be. Many of them had hired outside attorneys who were assigned to, who had been hired in as many as 20 and 25 school systems. In some cases, these outside attorneys who were negotiators could give us 15 or 20 minutes every few months, and the process just was delayed. I think there have been some cases where an unfair labor practice charge should have been brought.
Negotiations broke off today in the strike against United Airlines, and all flights have now been canceled through Christmas Eve. Mediators say the talks between the airline and the machinists are at an impasse. No new talks have been scheduled. University of Minnesota hospital workers, members of Local 1164, picketed the hospital today to, as they put it, inform the public of the unjust contract offers proposed by management, reportedly 2 cents an hour. Sue Wells, president of the union, had more.
And AFSCME, American Federation of State County Employees, Local 1164, represents 800 hospital workers at the University of Minnesota. And for over 8 months, we've been in and out of contract negotiations. First, the Teamsters tried to attempt to raid our union, which we successfully defeated them. And our management has been stalling since October on our contract. We go to negotiations, and they came up with a wage proposal of 2 cents.
So what are you asking? What are you asking?
We're asking in this informational picket that management seriously negotiate with our union over wages and the other issues in our contract. We're willing to negotiate, but we think it's an insult that workers who do very important, vital health care work are offered a 2-cent raise when our average wage is around a little over $3 an hour is all we make.
A number of congressmen are trying to form a committee to draft Senator Hubert Humphrey for the Democratic presidential nomination. A Humphrey spokesman said the senator will write a letter of disavowal if the committee gets going. The senator was a guest on our Metro Media station in Washington, D.C., and of course the questions turn to politics.
No, I'm not a candidate, and Newsweek knows that. Look, I'm not shrinking violet. If I wanted to be a candidate, I'd tell you. And I'd most likely get in a lot of trouble doing it, but I'd tell you. I'm not, and I have said so repeatedly. Your introduction there was almost what I would have given you as an old professor was an A, but you flubbed it a little bit. I give you a B+, because you said the Democratic Convention in its wisdom. I have serious, very serious doubts that the Democratic Convention is going to nominate someone that has not been in the primaries.
Will you not tear asunder the Democratic Party if you get the nomination without running in a primary?
Let me tell you that I think my role in the Democratic Party is to heal the party, not to tear it asunder, and I believe that I can help do that. I've been trying to do that. I feel that I have good working credentials now with what we call the party regulars, the establishment people, and also with those that in a few years ago were not so close to me. And we work together and we work well. I'm a Democrat, and I'm proud of it, and I love my party and all that it has worked for. We've gone through a terribly difficult period because we're a very sensitive party. We in this Democratic Party of ours have been willing to wrestle with all the tough issues, the race issue, the issues that relate to women's rights, the issues that relate to our economy, the issues that relate to minority rights. All these things have been very explosive, and we've sort of worked our way through it. Now, what can Hubert Humphrey do in that party? Well, I'm not a youngster. I'm not ambitious in this party now in the sense of trying to grab something. I think people know that, and I can be of help. I'm going to try to help every one of these candidates that are out on the hustings now. I've talked to them. My young friend Birch Bayh, he's a marvelous young man. He's not as young as I make it appear, but he's an intelligent, able young man. We talk, and I want to help him. Lloyd Benson, for example. Scoop Jackson, another one. Frank Church, I think, will be in this struggle. My friend George McGovern. All of these people, and I'm sure I'm leaving out Mo Udall, for example. Mo and Stu are very good friends.
You will name the entire majority here in a minute.
No, but all I'm saying is that I want to be wherever I can to be of a little help to them, and I'm not trying to be the nice guy on the show. I'm just telling you the God's truth.
Kissinger off again, a computer to fight crime in Minneapolis, more news, weather, and Dr. Friedman on adopted children meeting their real parents. Coming up next.
In the Twin Cities, Donaldson's leads the way this Christmas with men's two-piece Farrah leisure suits of 100% polyester double knit in mix and match combinations. Come in today and pick out a top and a pair of slacks for your two-piece leisure suit in matching solids or contrasting colors. The tops are just $25 and $28.50, and the slacks are just $18. Both are machine washable and wrinkle-free in a large selection of colors and sizes. Get your versatile Farrah leisure suit in the men's department at Donaldson's, your Christmas store.
To a beer drinker, there's nothing like a cold beer served in a frosted glass. And now you can frost glasses at home instantly. Introducing the Ronco Glass Froster. It frosts all kinds of glasses. Just press the lever and frost glasses for mixed drinks, for soft drinks, for wine glasses or dessert glasses. It's a must for parties, and for only $5, they really do make great Christmas gifts.
Available at these fine stores.
Pepperidge Farm introduces new small-size layer cakes. Good as the regular layer cakes, only smaller, so you spend less. There's good thick icing to make 'em extra delicious, and tempting flavors like old-fashioned chocolate, light lemon coconut, and tasty banana. Try Pepperidge Farm's new small-size layer cakes. They taste homemade, 'cause Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I was born with icky hair. Thin, dull, no body. So you know how I made it better? Colored it.
Do it.
Yep, I did it. With Clairol Balsam Color. It leaves hair better than if you hadn't colored it. Because of some magic formula where this packet of Balsam Color Conditioner works with the color. I don't understand it, but I love it, because my hair's shiny, more manageable, and a healthier color. Do it. There's no excuse not to anymore.
Do it.
Secretary of State Kissinger is off the hook on Capitol Hill. The House Intelligence Committee has dropped contempt action against him after 3 committee members received a special briefing about State Department action regarding foreign affairs. Kissinger left today for Brussels and the annual NATO meeting. Reporters with the president on the recent China trip complained about the lack of hard news. In a long-distance interview, the State Department's Adolph Dubs told Peggy Keene the important thing was that a dialogue occurred.
I think what one has to understand is that it's good in and of itself that the leadership in the United States keep in constant touch with the leadership in China. This is especially important at the present time when it appears as though there will be a change within the years to come. One shouldn't always expect, I think, spectacular outcomes from summit meetings. There's a very real purpose to be served by continuing a dialogue with important leaders of large nations abroad. And so I didn't expect that anything spectacular would come out of the summit meeting in China. This was the position, of course, that the administration took. And as I say, I want to underline the importance of continuing a dialogue with leaderships all over the world, especially the larger and more powerful countries.
Arguments in the reserve mining case will be heard a week from tomorrow in the St. Louis Federal Appeals Court. The court will decide whether Judge Miles Lord should be barred from further action in the case and who should pay for filtered water for North Shore communities. At the Capitol today, 2 Iron Range lawmakers complained about the call for a study of the feasibility of dumping reserve's taconite tailings into old mine pits. Joseph Burgich of Eveleth said it's a dirty shame to see politics enter the dispute when lives and jobs are at stake. Still more criticism for Hennepin County government. Again from State Auditor Robert Mattson. Today he told county municipal court officials they do not have the power to collect user fees from communities in the county. He says more than $3 million was collected in various court costs over the past 4 years, and he said the money should be paid back. The court administrator, municipal judges say that the fees are legal and proper, and a new battle has now started. The Senate Commerce Committee has approved the nomination of Elliot Richardson to be Secretary of Commerce. Full Senate approval is expected by next week. Quick confirmation of John Stevens to the Supreme Court also expected. Apparently there is no opposition and he could be confirmed sometime before Christmas. Minneapolis Police Chief Jack Jensen explained a new crime-fighting computer program for the city today. He said it'll do for Minneapolis what state and national computer programs have done at those levels. Mainly provide police with information on criminals and crime. He said it'll cost about $3 million, but most of the money has been budgeted.
We'll also have a benefit in terms of this component of it supplying more direct and accurate information to the officer in the field in terms of the kinds of information he requires, wants, warrant checks, etc. It interfaces with the digital system in the squad car so the officer has immediate access to that kind of information. And in addition to that, it provides for a cross-fertilization of information in the area of investigative support potential. The investigator now many times has to hand search difficult, time-consuming records to get information about method of operation, about tying a particular suspect to a particular crime. This process would actually automate that, so with a name and a little other information, but whatever other information he may have, he can get a profile of a particular suspect, and it actually becomes an investigative tool.
Finally, some good news on the stock market, apparently reacting to Commerce Department reports that retail sales improved in November. The market closed up nearly 10 points. Christmas sounds in the Hennepin County Government Center today, the first of a series of holiday concerts for noon-hour breaks, and part of a growing number of Christmas parties, concerts, events around the Twin Cities. And the weather for it all, a little bit cooler, eh?
A little bit cooler, but it's not really too bad for this season of the year. This is what happened across the seas today. Lima of Peru reported a high of 61 degrees, accompanied by partly cloudy skies. Ghana of Africa, 79 and clear. Barbados of the West Indies, 88 and sunny. Copenhagen of Denmark, 38 and partly cloudy. There was drizzle today in the western mountain region, accompanied by fog. 44 degrees, the high reading for San Francisco. Partly cloudy skies there. 67 for Los Angeles. 30 degrees today for Salt Lake City and Denver, accompanied by sunny skies. 45 for Omaha. It was warm and 77 degrees today in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. Cool air, rain, and snow is arriving from the Canada region, moving into the Great Lakes area as well as our 5-state region, and will bring some cooler weather. It was snowing today and 39 degrees for Chicago, cloudy and 50 for Louisville, 43 and sunny Atlanta, 33 with dense areas of fog New York, 38 and partly cloudy for Boston. Somewhat cooler tonight for our north central region. Light snow flurries are expected as well as cloudy skies. 5 below zero for a maximum low in the North Dakota area. High readings tomorrow in the high readings tomorrow, 10 above. Cloudy skies with a chance of very light snow flurries in both areas. 5 and 21 for lows and highs in the South Dakota region. A low this evening in the Iowa area of 16 degrees. Temperatures will steadily and rapidly fall during the day tomorrow. There will be a chance of very light snow flurries as well as cloudy skies. Teens this evening, low 30s tomorrow for Wisconsin. In Minnesota area, snow flurries for the northern section of the state. Very, very cold with a low reading tonight of 20 below zero. High readings tomorrow in the low 20s, and skies will be cloudy. It was a pleasant day today, however, in the Twin Cities with a high of 37 degrees and a low of 30. At the present time, skies are cloudy. Winds are from the northeast at 10 miles an hour. Humidity 49%. Barometric pressure is slowly rising at 29.99 inches of mercury. It is 0 degrees on the Celsius scale, 32 degrees on the Fahrenheit scale. Increasing cloudiness will continue in the Twin Cities with a very small chance of snow flurries tonight and again tomorrow. Lows tonight, 10 above, high readings tomorrow in the low 20s with a chance of measurable precipitation 30% through tomorrow evening. Pollution apex today was considered very satisfactory. You have a very nice evening, Gil.
Thank you, Tone. Next up tonight for A Better Life with Dr. Sonia Friedman, some observations on adopted children meeting their real parents and women in law and medicine.
If you were adopted as a child, have you ever wondered what would happen if you were to meet up with your natural parents? Well, psychiatrist Dr. Arthur Sorowski has made the first and only scientific study of just what happens in such meetings. And what he found is that when these meetings finally do occur between adult adoptees and their birth parents, both sides frequently come out of the experience with a greater peace of mind. The adoptee and the parent often find that they have common personality traits and interests. In fact, this occurred in more than one half of the cases studied. For the most part, the attitude of the reunited parent was positive, accepting, and in at least half of the cases, a meaningful relationship was developed. The adoptees found a sense of resolution about conflicts concerning identity. These were diminished for them. However, Dr. Sorowski found that one group was adversely affected by the reunion, and that was the adoptive parents. In most cases, they developed great difficulty in accepting this new experience. You know, in 46 of the 50 states, there are laws to keep adopted children from searching successfully for their natural parents. In spite of this, adopted children often grow up with unresolved questions and spend years hunting for their natural parents and feeling a deep sense of loss at never really knowing who they are. Would you have dreamed 10 years ago that so many women would be enrolled in law and medical schools? Well, the number has doubled in just the last 4 years. And it might interest you to know that 1/5 of all students in law and medical school today are women, and that number's still increasing. For a better life, this is Sonia Friedman.
Sports next on the 9:30 News. Joe Boyle joins us in just a moment.
We learned a long time ago that resources used by man must be replaced. And that applies to the natural gas we have been using for so many years. Natural gas was once easy to find. For many years, our supplies came from pretty shallow wells. But most of these easily obtainable supplies have been used up, and we're having to look elsewhere for new gas. It's out there, all right, but it's more and more difficult to find, more difficult to get to, and we have to ship it further and further to get it to you. That's one of the reasons natural gas is going to cost more in the future, but it'll be worth it. Tomorrow's energy is everybody's job.
A message on serum cholesterol from Mazola corn oil. Good eating habits are an important part of your family's good health. Recently, a total dietary program was tested to reduce serum cholesterol. It included skim milk, lean meats, fruits and vegetables, and Mazola, pure corn oil. Result, serum cholesterol was reduced an average of 17%. Couldn't your family benefit from such a dietary program? Ask your doctor.
This is Easy Ed Bergstrom. If you're looking for bedroom, living room, dining room furniture, carpeting, or TV and appliances, come to Bergstrom's in Buffalo. Quality furniture at prices you can afford. Easy terms plus free delivery. Right now, free chair with every sofa, or select a sale price sofa, save up to $150. Free mattress and box spring with every bedroom set, or save up to $300. See you in Buffalo.
Dry Sack on the Rocks changed my mind about sherry. It stands up to ice, perfect before lunch or dinner. The sherry in the sack, imported by Julius Weil.
More baseball in December.
Sounds good.
You were on there, I think. Okay, after a battle, the sale of the Chicago White Sox to controversial Bill Veeck was approved by the American League today. The battle ensued when Veeck's application was turned down because it got only 8 votes for the application being approved, while 9 votes were needed. Detroit President John Fitzker appealed for a second vote, and that vote came out 10-2 in favor of the sale, which will keep the White Sox in Chicago. The approval still leaves the league with the Seattle question up in the air. Twins president Calvin Griffith lessened speculation that they might go to Seattle when he denied that he would ask the league's permission to move. Griffith did say something had to be done about a stadium here soon, and one should remember that Seattle moved to Milwaukee just 2 months before the season started originally, so it could still happen. Former Twin Jim Cott is on the move again. Cott was sent to the Phillies today in a 5-player swap involving the White Sox. The Sox' only 20-game winner was joined by minor league shortstop Mike Buskey in moving to the Phillies in exchange for right-handers Dick Ruthven and Roy Thomas, plus outfielder Alan Bannister. Also at those winter baseball meetings, the American League has asked the designated hitter rule be used in All-Star and World Series games played in American League parks. The National League has opposed the idea, and one would hope that the American League would stick by their guns and say no DH, no games. In trade news, the California Angels sent Bill Singer, veteran right-handed pitcher, to Texas for first baseman Jim Spencer and about $100,000. And the Cleveland Indians have named one-time Indian slugger Rocky Colavito to their coaching staff. Rocky will serve as a first base coach and a batting instructor. Let's go to the scoreboard. The Saints lost to New England tonight 3-2, and also at the end of one period, Winnipeg over Toronto 3-1. In the NHL, Buffalo and the Rangers battle to a 2-2 tie. Toronto has a 3-1 lead over Montreal in Montreal after 2 periods of play. And Chicago beat Washington tonight 7-2. Pittsburgh and Detroit are 2-2. That's after 2 periods of play. In the NBA, it was Boston over the Milwaukee Bucks, 111-98. And after 3 periods, Phoenix has a 2-point lead over Houston. Also after 3 periods of play, Kansas City and Atlanta are all tied up at 78 apiece. In the ABA, Denver leads St. Louis 67-60 at the half, and San Antonio trails Indiana also at halftime. Collegiate basketball tonight, Kentucky over Miami of Ohio, and Maryland defeated Georgia Tech 93-65. The Big Ten's Michigan, who will be a contender this year, defeated South Carolina by 9, and San Diego upset Purdue by 2 points out on the West Coast. Navy beat one of the biggies, Lycoming, 92-62. And Nebraska over St. Mary's of California 68-57. Back home, Winona State
beat crosstown rival St. Mary's of Winona, and Moorhead State over Valley City, North Dakota, while it was University of Minnesota Morris over Mayville State. High school hockey score for you. It was Johnson of St. Paul, Wamping Central 13-0, and in high school basketball, Austin Pacelli over Benilde St. Margaret's 69-53. The North Stars have traded the NHL rights to Henry Boucher to the Kansas City Scouts of the NHL. The Stars received the familiar future considerations for Boucher's rights. Speculation centered around the rights to a WHA player or the Scout second-round draft choice next year. Boucher is currently playing with the Saints and has scored, 10 goals in 14 games with that WHA club. The Stars will take on the Scouts tomorrow night in a game to be televised here on WTCN TV, Metro Media 11. Coach Ted Harris feels it's an important game because his club still has a run at a playoff spot.
Well, it's been to our advantage, Joe, and that the other teams in our division haven't been setting the world on fire either. So, although we have not been winning too many games ourselves, the other teams haven't got that far ahead of us, so we still have a chance of making that third playoff spot, and that's still what's in our sights.
And one final note, Gil, Cindy Nelson of Lutsen, Minnesota finished third in the second Women's World Cup downhill of Olympic season in Italy this afternoon.
The old Scars and the Stouts, eh?
Scars, the way they're going, that's appropriate, I guess.
We'll be right back. Have a final word.
Oh, look at all the cards. We used to get a lot of cards, but then I started cutting the list back, and well, is that the Clarks? Uh-huh. Does Ruth have 3 kids now? Uh-huh. Honey, look at this.
Same old Larry.
When did the Bradleys move to Omaha?
They've been there for 2 years.
2 years? Oh, this is beautiful.
It's from some friends we met last summer. I think this one's my favorite.
Oh, it's from Karen. She always sent the best cards.
Oh, Susan, here's one you'll really get a kick out of. It's from our old roommate.
Barbara.
Read what she wrote.
Be sure to give Susan my best when you see her and wish her a Merry Christmas for me. Do you have Barbara's address?
One of the nicest parts of Christmas is sharing it with your friends with the gift of a Christmas card. P.S. Write soon.
Renews its super odor killer. Emily, we Paxtons always use Lysol spray to kill odors.
Lysol's terrific, Mother, but lots of odors are continuous. And for continuous odors, you need continuous protection.
Does it really work?
Renews its super odor killer's an extra strength solid deodorizer that does what even Lysol can't. It kills tough bathroom odors continuously, like that cat box.
New Renews It Super Odor Killer does what Lysol can't. Kills tough odors continuously.
We Paxtons always use Renews It.
There's nothing like a fresh cup of coffee to start off the morning. Take a fresh pot, pour a fresh cup, and it tastes...
stale.
Where are you going?
Back to bed.
Hey, you ought to start fresh with butternut.
Butternut?
It really tastes fresh, because after the grinding, butternut is vacuum sealed while it's still warm. Make a fresh pot, pour a fresh cup, and it tastes...
oh, that's fresh.
Start fresh with butternut.
What was that guy selling earlier? Wine in a paper bag? Is that...
No, it wasn't paper.
We're out of time tonight. North Star Hockey tomorrow night. News will follow. Good night.
A cookbook writer who can't cook invites a sailor to dinner. See Christmas in Connecticut with Barbara Stanwyck, Sunday at 4 on Metro Media 11.
With this incredible speed tufting tool, you can create beautiful loop pile rugs worth hundreds of dollars. And it works so easily, anyone can use it. Simply thread the tool with yarn or fabric and follow the pattern. It automatically advances and spaces its own stitches, making up to 200 loops a minute. These are just some of the many rugs and wall hangings you can make with the Ronco speed tufting tool. Aren't they beautiful? Teenagers will have fun making colorful rugs and pillows, even handbags. Mom can turn speed tufting into profit. This $100 rug can be made for under $20. And by using the Ronco fabric shredder, recycle old clothing, making that rug cost almost nothing. Grandma can enjoy it, for it requires no complicated fingerwork. The Ronco speed tufting kit includes tool, yarn, fabric shredder, pattern, frame, and instructions. It makes the perfect Christmas gift, and it's only $9.98.
Available at these fine stores.
This week, TV Guide focuses on public television. Is it